Hi, I'm B. Today, I'm going to tell you about how you can prepare for the IELTS academic reading test. First, I'll give you an overview of the reading test. Then, I'll talk about some strategies you can use for answering questions. And finally, towards the end, I'll give you some tips to help you for the reading test.
So first, the reading test lasts 1 hour. There are 3 texts to read and a total of 40 questions. You aren't allowed any extra time to transfer your answers, so write them directly onto your answer sheet. And you'll need to manage your time during the test, because you won't be told when to start or finish each section. You can expect to read about 2,500 words in total during your test. That's the length of the 3 texts combined. These texts are taken from books, journals, magazines, and newspapers. They've been written for a non-specialist audience and are on academic topics of general interest. So, reading a magazine such as Nature can give you good preparation. The texts range from the descriptive and factual to the discursive and analytical. So, expect a range of different texts. As I mentioned earlier, there are 40 questions. You can be asked to fill gaps in a passage of written text or in a table, match headings to written text or to diagrams or charts, complete sentences, give short answers to open questions, or answer multiple choice questions. Sometimes you will need to give one word as your answer, sometimes a short phrase, and sometimes simply a letter, number, or symbol. So always make sure you read the instructions carefully. Each correct answer receives 1 mark, so don't spend too much time on one question. Spend at least 20 minutes on each text, and use your time wisely. Let's now look at reading strategies. First, let's look at skimming and scanning. Skimming is when you read something quickly to get the general idea of a text. You'll need skimming skills to complete a question where you need to match headings or other information to paragraphs. When you skim, you look at the titles and headings. You'll also read the first sentence of each paragraph. Skimming should only take you a minute or 2 for each text. Scanning is when you look through a text quickly to find a specific piece of information. You'll need this skill for certain IELTS-type reading questions. For example, if you know that one answer requires you to find something that happened in Peru, you can look quickly over a block of text until you spot the word Peru, and then read around that word until you find the correct answer. The main point is that you do not need to read the entire text to answer this type of question. Okay, so skimming and scanning will help you answer many of the questions in IELTS reading exam. However, for some questions you will need to read a paragraph in detail to find the answer. This means you will need to read some sentences very carefully to understand the full meaning and answer the question correctly. Right, use these strategies to help you to improve your speed in an exam, to give you more time to answer the test in full, and to leave you more time to double-check your answers at the end. Okay, now we come to the third part of the video. Some general tips about the IELTS academic reading test. First, use that skimming skill. Skim the text. Look out for the title, headings, and any special features such as capital letters, underlining, italics, figures, graphs, and tables. Also, make sure that you understand the questions and follow instructions carefully. Pay attention to your timing. Do not spend too long on one text or question. Spend 20 minutes per text maximum. Remember, you don't need to read or understand every word. You just need to understand enough to answer the questions. Don't waste time. If you are having problems finding an answer, do attempt to answer it, but don't spend lots of time on it. All the answers are found in the text, so don't panic. Use those skimming, scanning, and reading for detail skills. Remember to check your spelling and grammar carefully. Pay attention to the word limit. For example, if you're asked to complete a sentence using no more than 2 words, and if the correct answer is leather shoe, the answer, shoe made of leather, would be incorrect. Make sure that you attempt all questions. There are no penalties for incorrect answers, so you have nothing to lose. And of course, leave some time at the end to check your answers.
Okay, that's it for this video. Remember to practice your reading skills. The more you read, the better at reading you'll get. Goodbye and good luck on the IELTS academic reading test. Hi, I'm B. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how to prepare for the IELTS speaking test. First, I'll give you an overview of the speaking test. Then, I'll go through some strategies you can use to answer questions. And finally, towards the end, I'll give you some tips that you can use for the test. Let's get started.
You'll be speaking with a certified examiner. The examiner is an expert English speaker and can come from a wide range of countries, including the UK, Australia, the US, and Hong Kong. The test is as close to a real-life situation as a test can get. The test lasts between 11 and 14 minutes and is divided into 3 parts. You are tested on a range of speaking skills. For example, number 1, this includes your fluency and coherence. This is about your connected speech and the way you link ideas together. Number 2, your lexical resource, which is about the range and accuracy of the vocabulary you use. Number 3, your grammatical range and accuracy, which is about the number of errors you make and whether this affects your communication skills. And number 4, your pronunciation, which includes how clear your speech is. Okay, so part 1 is like the introduction. What happens first in part 1 of the speaking test is that the examiner will greet you, introduce him or herself, and ask you to do the same. They will then check your identification. The examiner will then ask you some warm-up questions on easier topics such as family, work, study, and interests. See the examples on the screen. The topics in part 1 are designed to help you feel comfortable when speaking. You should try and relax so that you can speak as naturally as possible. Overall, part 1 will take approximately 4 to 5 minutes. After part 1, you'll immediately move on to part 2. During the second part of the test, the examiner will pass you a task card with your topic on it. The task card has the main topic which you will give a short talk on. It also has the main points that you should cover in the talk. You can use these points as headings to keep you on track during your short talk. So after you're given the card, you'll be given 1 minute to prepare yourself and make some simple notes before you start your talk. See the example on the screen. Do make use of this minute to think of ideas and organize your talk. After your minute of preparation is over, you'll be asked to talk for 1 to 2 minutes on your topic. This time is entirely for you to speak. The examiner will not interrupt you while you're giving your speech. You should try to speak for the full 2 minutes. Don't worry about timing yourself. The examiner will tell you when the time is up. At the end of part 2, the examiner might ask you 1 or 2 follow-up questions on the same topic. You can give short answers to these questions. This whole section will take between 3 and 4 minutes. The final part of the speaking test will be a discussion between yourself and the examiner. This discussion will be related to the topic you covered in the second part of the test. So following on from the previous example, you may be asked some questions like this. The main idea of part 3 is to give you an opportunity to discuss more abstract ideas and concepts around this topic. This part of the test focuses on your ability to express and justify opinions, and to analyze, discuss, and speculate about issues. This section will last between 4 and 5 minutes. Now that we've covered the format of the test, let's go over a few tips and tricks to help you focus and succeed. Tip number 1 is to try to talk as much as you can. This means avoiding long silences where the examiner might think you're not confident in your language abilities. A good rule of thumb is to make sure you speak more than the examiner does. Try to put yourself at ease when you speak. Tip number 2 is to try to speak as fluently as you can. Avoid long ums and as this may make it appear that your vocabulary is limited. Tip number 3 is to develop your answers. Do not give simple, one-word responses to the questions you are asked. Use your own knowledge and experience to give further explanation and examples. Try to make your ideas as clear as possible to the examiner. And remember, if you feel you're not sure about something in the question, don't be afraid to ask the examiner for clarification. That's tip number 4. Tip number 5 is to train yourself to think and respond quickly in English. Practice effectively. And do not rehearse specific answers to questions you think the examiner might ask. That's tip number 6. The examiners are trained to notice when candidates do this, and they will change the questions to something less predictable. Tip number 7 is to record yourself giving answers and then listen back to your responses to get a feel for how you sound to the listener. This will help you pick up where you need improvement, and you can focus on those key areas. And tip number 8 is to get comfortable speaking to someone in English through practice. That's the best way to practice. And this means you'll be ready for anything the examiner throws at you.
Okay, we've come to the end of this video for the IELTS speaking test. Remember, the more you practice your speaking, the more confident you'll be when you actually take the test. Goodbye and good luck on your IELTS speaking test.